Good morning, MRT riders. Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa regular press briefing ni Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Let me begin by addressing the request of Buri for an audience with the President. We find no reason to have um, the requested meeting. We had already canceled the contract with Buri, and the government decided to meanwhile take over the maintenance of MRT. Now, also as of now, as of 11:32, we have not officially received any word about the reported resignation of Department of Transportation Undersecretary Cesar Chavez, and therefore I still cannot comment on this reported resignation. No? Now, the Executive Secretary has also requested me to read a notice to the public that he issued last 21 November 2017, and I read as follows. Notice is hereby given to the public that unscrupulous individuals have been posing as members of the Cabinet, including the Executive Secretary, or name-dropping the latter in fraudulent schemes to solicit funds from the public. In particular, please be warned that the Office of the President or the Office of the Executive Secretary has not authorized any person to solicit money or other things of value from the public for the alleged benefit of Marawi soldiers, senior citizens, illegal drug campaign, or for any other cause for that matter. So I reiterate, the palace, none of the cabinet members has authorized anyone to raise funds for any purpose. Now, I also committed to report to you the negative list in our last press briefing, and I have before me now Memorandum Order number 16. The negative list for the year includes private recruitment, local or overseas employment, practice of particular professions when allowing foreign participation will redound to the public benefit, contracts for the construction and repair of locally funded public works, public services except activities and systems that are recognized as public utilities such as transmission. Let me, or should I just distribute copies of this? Medyo mahaba eh. We'll just distribute copies of Memorandum number 16, directing the NEDA board and its member agencies to exert almost efforts to ease or ease restrictions on certain investment areas or activities with limited foreign participation. No? Okay, to raise the Philippine level of competitiveness and to foster higher economic growth, the NEDA board and its member agencies are hereby directed to take immediate steps to lift or ease restricting existing restrictions on foreign participation. This is to ease foreign restrictions, as I said, private recruitment, practice of particular professions, where foreign participation will down to the public benefit, contracts for construction and repair of locally funded public works, public services, except activities and systems that are recognized as public utilities such as transmission and distribution of electricity, water pipeline distribution system, and sewerage pipeline system, culture production, milling, processing, and trading except retailing of rice and corn, and acquiring by barter purchases otherwise rice and corn and byproducts thereof, teaching at higher education levels, retail domestic enterprises, and domestic market enterprises. So the NEDA board are hereby directed to earnestly support in a coordinated manner such legislative efforts as may be necessary to eliminate or relax aforesaid restrictions, including pending legislation seeking to clarify the definition of public utilities. No? Now, today is November 23. We are commemorating the November 23 Maguindanao massacre, and we have as guests later Undersecretary Egco, head of the Presidential Task Force on Media Security. We are also joined later this morning by relatives of media kin, some of the media kin who perished in the Maguindanao massacre. And perhaps a last point is I have gotten many queries on Agnes Calamar despite press statement that has already been issued. I reiterate the position that the president should be taken seriously but not literally. The president has expressed his greatest displeasure at the conduct of Agnes Callenard, who came to the Philippines uninvited, despite the fact that at that time we were already negotiating the requisite invitation required for special rapporteurs to be able to investigate in member nations of the United Nations. No? So what she did to come here, despite the fact that negotiations were still pending, was an act of bad faith. And of course, what angered the president in particular is on her visit here, she brought a resource person who the President believes stated that prohibited drugs is not harmful to human health. And that is why at all occasions, and I believe members of the media who went to Vietnam with us know that the President has been distributing a UN literature on the adverse effects of different kinds of prohibited drugs. So that is the reason for the President's anger and displeasure at Agnes Calamard. So I hope that clarifies the palace position. Now, my advice, don't come to the Philippines when uninvited. Yes, let us now take questions.
Laila Salaveria.
Sir, on rapporteur, the special rapporteur, sir, I understand her visit was not to conduct a fact-finding investigation, but to attend a drug policy conference upon the invitation of a lawyers group. So are we still objecting to that? Because that wasn't what was under negotiation with the government.
Considering there were negotiations ongoing about an official visit to the country, she should have desisted.
Even if it's not related to the fact-finding.
No, but she still made her comments on a matter that should be investigated first. So the position of the palace is, how could she have come up with conclusions when she had not yet conducted an investigation? So to us, because she already had conclusions even before an investigation, she has preconceived conclusions about the issue of alleged killings on the drug war.
Okay, thank you.
Follow up? Follow up, other issue? Okay, Pia, to be followed by Maricel.
Hi, sir. Sir, yesterday the president said he would order the arrest of members of communist legal fronts. Can he do this?
Yes, he can. President is a former prosecutor. He knows that there can be a conspiracy to commit the crime of both rebellion and the violation of the Human Security Act, because you can now be prosecuted for acts, overt acts constituting rebellion, also for violation of the Human Security Act, where the taking up of arms is intended for the purpose of inflicting fear or terror in the minds of the general public. And I think the statement of the President delivered in Taguig on the occasion of honoring the fallen soldiers from Taguig signifies that his legal basis would be that they are in conspiracy to commit both rebellion and acts of terrorism under the Human Security Act.
But sir, he also mentioned that this would apply to legal fronts, meaning non-armed necessarily. So how do we accuse them of rebellion when they're not necessarily armed?
The President, as public prosecutor, has said that conspiracy is sufficient basis to accuse them of both rebellion and acts of terrorism, because in a conspiracy, the act of one is the act of all, even if they did not physically take up arms. If they are part of a conspiracy to commit acts of terror or rebellion, then they can be held liable under the theory of conspiracy.
So being part of a leftist organization is automatically meaning that they are conspiring against the government?
Not necessarily. Only what the President described as the legal front of the New People's Army, the CPP, NPA, the legal front. And I think we leave it at that, because those were the words used by the President. He will be advised by security forces on which of these legal fronts should be charged with conspiracy.
So sir, we're talking about just these three, not Akbayan, Bayan, many other leftist organizations.
Akbayan claimed that they were victim of purging on the part of the CPP NPA.
Bayan.
So
Those
obviously
kinds.
you're very young.
Sorry,
You
sir.
do not know the purge, but the security
Bayan,
forces
Piston, so
will
many.
advise the President, and the Department of Justice prosecutors will act accordingly.
Okay, thank you, Pia. Joseph?
Sir, what are they doing now to merit the filing or to merit the arrest?
Well, the President said that it is a conspiracy. The President has shown frustration that while the Philippine government was exerting utmost effort to come up with a peace deal with the New People's Army, while talking peace, the New People's Army had been attacking our soldiers and civilians. So, napika na po ang Presidente, nais niya talagang magkaroon ng kapayapaan, nakipag-usap siya, pero habang nakipag-usap, wala pong hupa ang pag-aatake ng NPA. Kaya nga po sabi niya, tingin ko terorista na yung mga yan at panahon na para talaga mapanagot sila.
Well, probably the NPA actions are very clear, overt acts, no? How about the legal fronts?
Well, nasagot ko na po yan. Ang legal basis ng ating presidente ay conspiracy, no, in the commission of the crime of both rebellion and acts punishable under the Human Security Act.
And how is this established, sir?
Well, the lawyers, of course, will take care of this. In conspiracy, there must be an agreement for a common purpose and a common design, and for overt acts also to reach that common purpose.
Just so it comes from the palace, who are these legal fronts?
The President has not declared. I am sure he will be guided by security and intelligence agencies of the government.
Yes, sir. Regarding the peace talks, how different is this statement, the statement yesterday where he said he doesn't want to talk anymore, from the previous statements where he said the same thing? What makes it different now?
He said the same thing, that
Yes,
he has halted the process of negotiating a peace deal with the communists for now.
The past three statements did not include mga notice of termination and what happens to the JASIG given the statement of the president yesterday?
Well, I think the office of the OPAP will be taking its cue from the president, and I do not want to second guess what the OPAP will do.
So yung notice of termination po, what will happen? Meron ba tayong magiging ganon?
Well, it's up to the OPAP now to act accordingly after the president issued basically repeated verbal orders that he wants to put a halt to ongoing peace talks for the time being.
So without the notice of termination, what do we call this stage? Is it suspended or terminated?
Well, the president has said that he will not resume peace talks for now. I do not know if it's a mere suspension or termination, but it's an unwillingness to proceed with the peace talks.
One last question, sir. Yung proclamation, wala pa?
None.
Thank you.
Last two on NPA, Inat and Bongbong.
Sir, nabanggitin po ni Pangulo that sir here,
Ah.
that he wants to have the NPA leaders arrested again. Now they're out on bail. Will the DOJ or any concerned agency be moving to suspend the temporary bail granted sa
Well,
kanila?
again, it's for the DOJ to act accordingly pursuant to the order of the president. In answer to your question, they should, because he has said that their temporary passes are effectively revoked, and if there are existing warrants of arrest against them, then they should be arrested anew.
Sir, similar to Joseph, how final is this supposed cancellation? Because again, he's been talking about this for the past few months, canceling talks. And
It's
yet-
final for now.
But, sir, because many people, again, are waiting for the notice of termination, which, again, despite his pronouncements over the past few months, has never came. I mean, never came, yeah.
I'll clarify the matter with OPAP, no? But as I said, the president is the chief executive. He has issued verbal orders repeatedly on the subject matter, which are identical. So it is final for now. No more peace talks with the NPA.
Okay, last two on NPA, Raymond. I'm sorry.
Sir, just
Raymond and Rose Novenario.
So just a quick one. Sir, so aside from the declaration, them as terrorists sa NPA, hindi ba kailangan ng parang batas para, legally declare din as terrorists? Hindi na kailangan. So proclamation na lang ilalabas ng Pangulo.
I don't think so, because in the first place, it is within the powers of the chief executive to characterize threats to national security. No? Although the criminal prosecution will have to be pursuant to an existing law. Okay?
So because of the declaration of the President na no more talks with the NPA, so mababaliwala na lahat yung mga local talks. Like for example, kay Davao City Mayor Inday Duterte, I understand she's doing her own talks with the NPAs there in Davao. So what will happen to the local negotiations?
I think local leaders can do as they deem fit. The order to cease with negotiations applies to agencies directly under the office of the president, and I'm referring to the OPAP.
Sir, last point. Sir, aside from the NPA, yung sa kabila naman, yung Alex Bongkayo Brigade and other rebel groups, no plans yet to declare them also as terrorists?
So far, the NPA was the only one targeted or stated by the president. I do not know if he will also declare other groups as being terrorist groups.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Rose Novenario.
Ay, good morning, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
Rose.
nabanggit niyo po na ipapataw na po yung o gagamitin na Human Security Act against the CPP-NPA. Yun po bang Human Security Act ay ginamit po laban sa mga ISIS-inspired maute terrorist sa kasagsagan po ng Marawi dahil ang sinampalang po sa kanila ay rebellion cases lang po.
Correct po, but what I do know is DOJ is also investigating acts that could be prosecuted under the IHL law and under the Human Security Act.
Pati po sa iba pang mga terror groups po sa Mindanao, i-apply din po yung Human Security
What I
Act.
do know is that they're also studying filing cases involving the IHL Act and HSA in the Zamboanga siege.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other issue? Maricel Halili.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir,
morning.
I understand that you haven't received the resignation letter from Yusek Chavez. But since he already announced it this morning, I just would like to get your view. What do you think of the timing of the resignation, considering the series of problems that are being encountered in
I'm sorry, I can't
MRT?
comment on something that I've not confirmed.
Pero,
I'm
sir,
sure as journalists you'd follow the same practice, no? But we'll wait for the resignation and we will have a reaction in due course.
kahit sir na-announce na niya.
Unless it's official, I can't comment.
All right. Sir, on other issue, may we have your reaction with regards doon sa ginawa po ng isang UK-based organization wherein they included President Duterte on their playing cards. Tapos ang feature sa kanya as joker and ang bansag is one of the hypocritical politicians.
Is there anything we can do about that? That was your decision. Let it be. The president has always respected freedom of expression. So be it.
Do you find this, sir, as an insult to the president, to the administration's efforts?
Let's just say that worse things have said about the president. He takes it in stride.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Ace Romero.
Secretary, the President recently reappointed Ariel Nepomuceno and Teddy Raval to the Bureau of Customs. And we all know they are two of the officials tagged in the bribery scandal. Considering that the President is implements a zero tolerance for graft and corruption, and you said that even a whiff of corruption is enough to dismiss or to lose his confidence and trust. How would we reconcile this?
It must be because there's been thorough investigation conducted by the House, the Senate, the DOJ, and even from within the palace. And it must be because these two officials were found not to be in any way involved in the 6.4 billion scandal.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Secretary.
other issue? Joseph Morong.
Sir, sa drug war, yesterday you said that I'd have to return the power to the police. Has he made a decision to return the drug war to the hands of the PNP?
Well, I think a decision will soon be made. But like you said, he did make the statement that I may have to return it to the police to avoid the problem from worsening. No? So I guess that's the latest. That is the latest pronouncement of the president. There is now a very strong likelihood that it will be returned to the PNP.
And the reason being?
As he said, no, what he said was to prevent the problem from worsening,
The drug problem, no?
the drug problem.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you, sir.
follow up? Other issue? Follow up. Alanesca.
Morning, sir.
Yes.
Sir, about the drug war still, do you think the amount of time given to the PDEA is enough to evaluate if the problem is already worsening at this point?
That's the president's call.
So, sir, it's enough time to evaluate, would you
That's the
say?
president's call. No? If he thinks it must be returned, then it must be that the PDA has been given enough time.
I see.
Ace Romero.
Secretary, I recall you presented data from the PIDEA about its accomplishments. So does this mean the President is not satisfied with the performance of the PIDEA?
I think we need to accept what the president has said. He does not want the problem to worsen, and that is why the thing is he used may, no? So I do not know if a formal directive has been issued, no? I would have. So
Whether I like it or not.
effectively, he has manifested already a decision to return it to the PNP.
But how would we assess the data or the accomplishments presented by PIDEA?
Because the president returned it, he must not be satisfied. He
Okay.
wants more.
But it will require another document, right? Because he issued a document when he transferred the lead role to PDEA.
Certainly, the Office of the Executive Secretary would have to document this.
So are they drafting it already?
As of now, I do not know yet. But if the President said so, that's a presidential directive.
Thank you, Secretary.
Okay, MPC. Follow-up, JP Bencito.
Sir, good morning. Sir,
Good morning.
isn't it alarming that the president will be returning the drug war back to the PNP when the president himself said that the PNP is corrupt to the core and no major reforms have yet to be implemented in the police force?
I think the President has acknowledged that the PNP is not a perfect organization. He has said that he will clean up the ranks of the PNP. He has said that he will prosecute policemen who may be guilty of murder, as in the case of Kian. But he has also said that by and large, not everyone in the PNP is corrupt, and therefore he still believes in the institution.
Sir, can we just get an update on what are the efforts currently undertaken by the government to cleanse the PNP?
Well, the killing of Kian, I don't know if you read it, no? The PNP IAS, Internal Affairs Service, has actually said that the policemen are guilty of killing Kian. No? So they did not justify the killing as part of a legal engagement. So that shows, in no uncertain terms, that when the police abuse their power, they will be punished.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, questions? Henry Uri. Last two na to, ha? Henry and Pia. Henry.
Sir, follow-up lang dun sa pagbabalik ng control ng illegal drug campaign sa PNP. Ano ho yung talagang nag-meet siya? Bakit ang Pangulo gusto na agad o gusto na uling kunin at ibalik sa PNP yung ano mga pangyayari na nagpapanting ng tenga sa Pangulo?
Well, kakasabi lang po niya ito kailan lamang, no? At ang sinabi nga niyang rason ay para hindi na lumala pa ang problema. So ang kasagutan ko po, sinagutan po yan ng Presidente, ayaw niya lumala pa ang problema. Ang tingin niya, baka lumala ang problema kung hindi maibalik sa PNP.
Okay, thank you, Henry. Pia?
Sir, President Duterte has also said that there are around 9,000 policemen involved in drugs. May we get updates po on efforts by the government to cleanse the ranks of the PNP, just like what you said?
We will monitor that, no? Because the President has really committed that the way to win the war on drugs is also to have a professional police force. The fact that he has identified at least 9,000 scalawags is an acknowledgement that it's not perfect, but he is taking steps to clean up the ranks of the PNP.
May we know, sir, ano ba yung mga steps na yun? Is there a PNP-wide investigation forthcoming following his pronouncement? Kasi the pronouncement was made, I think, 2 or 3 months ago.
Napakadami pong mga ahensya na pwedeng mag-imbestiga ng mga tiwaling pulis. Pwedeng IAS, pwedeng Napolcom, pwedeng PLEB, pwedeng Ombudsman. No? So lahat po yan ay gagamitin, no? Para malinis ang hanay ng ating kapulisan. Now let's move now to the commemoration. Today is the 12 o'clock na.
Joseph,
no?
sige. Joseph.
Sir, just one question lang. Sir, what will happen to Oplan Tokhang? Marireactivate ba siya?
We do not know. Oplang Tokhang itself really is an ongoing, it's an ongoing, anyway, I do not know what that is. No?
Because the DBM said they are not likely to allocate the 900 million budget for Tokhang to other projects or other agencies of the government. So
I think that
mataas
answers
ba
your
ang
government. If that's a declaration of DBM and it's not funded, can't possibly continue, no, if it's not funded.
Okay.
But we already have the victims, no?
Sir, we have sa yung news research namin, the story 2 days ago, 7,000 housing for soldiers and policemen remain unoccupied and are now deteriorating. What is the government's steps to maybe pakinabangan yun? Ano pa pa? Anong instructions sa NHA? Because this is 7,000 in all over the country.
I'll have to find out if the figure of 7,000 is accurate, because as I said, it's your research. So I'll have to inquire from the NHA, and I will have to find out what steps they will be taken. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Now,
sir.
we commemorate
Sige,
last.
Lanes ka.
Sir, about China being a telco player here, wala bang concerns si Presidente considering yung mga past infrastructure projects involving China and BN North Rail were canceled because of allegations of corruption? So wala bang ganong mangyari na naman kasi China na naman yung involved?
Well,
Walang
I
concern
think
about
we
that?
just have to, number one, accept the fact that the Philippine president is serious about his campaign against corruption, and he will not tolerate corruption at any level, particularly at the highest level. Okay? Now, today we commemorate, it's already the 8th year, no? The 8th year of the Maguindanao massacre, involving 58 victims, 33 of whom were members of the media. We are joined today by some of the kin of the murdered media professionals. But before we proceed, I'd like to recognize our guest, Yusek Joel Egco, who is head of the Task Force on Media Safety. The floor is yours, Yusek.
Thank you very much, Secretary Roque. Good morning, my colleagues. First, gusto ko pong makiisa sa lahat, no? Mga kapatid natin sa hanap buhay at sa buong bansa sa paggunita ng ika-8 anibersaryo ng karumal-dumal na Maguindanao Massacre. So I'd like to proceed by reading a statement that we came up after our last meeting, last Friday, no, during the regular meeting of the task force, the Presidential Task Force on Media Security. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security, on its regular meeting last November 17, 2017, had the anniversary of the Maguindanao Massacre today as the most important item in the agenda. The member agencies and media observers arrived at a consensus that it is high time for the task force to declare its condemnation of the tragic event that led to the killing of 32 media workers, along with 26 others who are non-media. In this meeting, the Department of Justice, which sits as chair of the task force through Assistant Secretary Juvie Arman Wong, updated the body regarding the status of the said case. Since the trial has been going on for the last 8 years, the task force urgently pushes for the following. There are 4 important measures that we're pushing right now. First is, of course, end impunity. Second is superior trial. Third is partial judgment. And number 4 is the intensified manhunt for those suspects who are still at large. As of our last tally, 58 counts of murder have been filed against 188 accused, 106 of whom are now behind bars. 3 have died while incarcerated, while 2 are out on bail. 1 has been released based on writ of habeas corpus. 82 suspects are still at large, but as of date, letters to PNP Chief Director General Ronald De La Rosa and National Bureau of Investigation Director Dante Gueran, who are members of the task force, have been sent out by the body based on the interagency members and resource persons' move for the intensified manhunt for the remaining suspects who are yet to be put behind bars. The most welcome developments are the following. The prosecution has terminated the presentations of 190 witnesses, while 63 have been presented by the defense so far. Currently, 22 of the suspects have terminated their presentation of evidence, 13 of which were submitted for decision. There are 21 accused who are currently presenting their evidence. Take note, a memorandum will be filed by the prosecution within the month for Ahmad Ampatuan Sr. and Anwar Ampatuan Sr., and thereafter be submitted for decision. The DOJ estimated that at the rate the trial is moving, the case may be resolved, conservative projection po ito, well within 4 years or well within the term of President Rodrigo Duterte, based on the assumption that the defense will present an equal number of witnesses as that of the prosecution. Kung 190 ang prosecution, baka mag-present ito ng mga 190 or 200 din. The representatives of the member agencies and media observers who attended the meeting and moved for the expeditious action of the PNP and NBI in putting those suspects who are still at large behind bars include Asek Manwong of the DOJ, Khalil Macan of the PCOO, Tito Fajardo of the Presidential Human Rights Committee, Joan Cordero of the Commission on Human Rights, Melanie Pinlac, representing the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, Nelson Santos, of the President of the Publishers Association of the Philippines, Paul Gutierrez, President of the National Press Club, Arsenio Andolong, Chief of the Public Affairs Office of the Department of National Defense, representing the Defense Secretary, Alejandro Papa, the Armed Forces of the Chief of Staff, OJ6, Darren Salipsip, representing the Office of the Chief Presidential Legal Counsel, Carlo Limiu, Special Agent of the National Bureau of Investigation, representing Director Dante Gueran, and Police Chief Inspector Brian Gregorio, Public Information Office of the PNP. The PT Forms will keep a close watch and strictly monitor the progress of the judicial process regarding the Maguindanao massacre. The good news is, after a long and tedious search for justice, we can now see the light at the end of the tunnel. That long period of uncertainty is finally over. Hoping against hope, we expect justice to be completely served for the victims and families of this most gruesome crime. I'm now ready to take your questions.
Perhaps before we take questions, can we hear from some of the victims? No? Now, I underscore the fact that when I was still private lawyer, we had proposed a system to expedite the prosecution, and this includes the first in, first out, which means that we don't have to finish with the reception of all evidence against all the accused before there could be promulgation of judgment. We could proceed with promulgation of judgments as against the accused whose presentations of evidence have been concluded. No? And we're hoping that earlier than the 4 years mentioned by the Undersecretary, that there could be at least 1 or 2 accused who will have a promulgation of judgment. Now, we're joined here now by some members of, kin of murdered media professionals. I have here Noemi Parcon. Noemi,
Yes,
please.
good morning po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Mrs. Noemi Parcon, asawa po ng isang media na pinatay during the Ampatuan Massacre. It's been 8 years nangyari yun, pero masakit pa rin. Although we have moved on, but the search for justice is still there. During the time of the previous administration, we are hoping na bago bumaba si Pinoy, makamit namin yung hustisya na hinihingi namin para sa aming mga mahal sa buhay. Pero hindi yun nangyari. Nang manalo si Presidente Rodrigo Duterte, nagkaroon kami ng pag-asa dahil alam namin na yung kanyang campaign against drugs would really help na mapabilis yung takbo ng kaso dahil alam namin na nagawa yun ng mga ampatuan, nasa influence sila ng drugs. Alam namin doon sa aming lugar na isa sila sa mga drug lords doon sa aming lugar. Sila ang nagpo-produce ng mga shabu. May shabu laboratory sila. Kaya sabi namin, nagkaroon kami ng malaking pag-asa na dahil ang trend, ang kampanya ng ating bagong Pangulo is really on the yung paghinto ng droga sa ating bansa, then we are very happy, no? So sa narinig ko kanina, within 4 years, kung nakapag-antay kami ng 8 taon, maantay namin yung 4 na taon. Pero kung sana mas earlier, mas magiging masaya po kami. yung sa amin lang po, bago sana bumaba yung ating bagong Pangulo, mabigyan ng hustisya ang pagkamatay ng aming mga mahal sa buhay. And isa sa kampanya niya is against corruption. Hindi naman po sana masamain nung mga tamaan na lang po, yung bato-bato sa langit, ang tamaan wag magalit. Pero there are some, I believe, no, that there are some officials ng ating government na ano siguro ng corruption, dahil alam natin yung kalaban namin maraming pera. No, so ngayon dahil isa yan sa kampanya ng ating Pangulo against corruption, so malaki po ang aming tiwala, malaki po ang aming pag-asa na bago siya bababa bilang presidente ng Pilipinas, makakamit talaga namin yung hustisya. Hustisya po para sa mga mahal namin sa buhay.
I'd like to call another victim of our media kin. She is from Davao City, no? A constituent of Mayor Duterte.
Ako po si Maria Cipriana Gatchalian. Asawa pa ako ni Santos Parisa Gatchalian Jr. Kung pwede ko sasabihin uli kung ano yung naramdaman ko nung makita ko yung katawan ng aking husband na pinatay na parang hayop, hindi katulad na isang tao. Kung ano yung nakita ko kasi kinuha ko yung body niya doon, inilagak sa isang punerarya. Hinukay siya, nahukay, nalibing na siya ng 3 days. Hinukay siya, inilagak siya doon sa punerarya ng tinawag siya na doon sa Coronadal. Nang makita ko yung itsura niya, yung tama niya, hindi ko maisip na yung umalis siya sa bahay, buong-buo siya. Alagang-alaga niya yung katawan, pero nakita ko yung body niya, hindi siya mukhang tao. Marami siyang tama, wala ng laman yung loob niya, lumabas na yung wala ng laman yung utak niya. Tama niya, galing sa binti, doon sa tuhod, sa paa, dito sa lower torso niya, doon dito sa meron pa siyang sugat dito, may sugat din siya sa ulo. Ang sabi ko, parang hindi tao ang gumawa nito. Ito ay kagawa na isang tao, na isang adik, na isang demonyo. Yun ang tawag ko nung makita ko yung body niya. Alagang-alaga ng husband ko yung katawan niya. Yun lang pala. Hindi na siya mukhang tao. Kasi bloated na siya. Sabi ko doon sa punerarya, ma'am, isauli mo yung mukha niya, ma'am, kasi gusto ko makita siya ng anak ko, ma'am. Ma'am, hindi pwede ibalot namin yan. Paano yan makita ng anak ko, ma'am? Sabi nila, ma'am, lagyan mo na lang malaking picture ang coffin niya. Nung dumating sa bahay, dinala ko siya doon sa Davao, doon ko siya nilibing. Nag-hire ako ng van na sasakyan ng coffin niya. Tapos dinala ko siya sa Davao, doon ko siya inilibing. Inilibing ko siya ng yung mabuting pagkalibing sa kanya. Sabi ng anak ko, ma, gusto namin makita yung mukha niya, hindi pwede. Kaya, hindi natanggap ng mga anak ko. Napatay ng papa nila. Parang akala na nagbakasyon yung papa nila. 1 year, hindi natanggap ng anak ko ang pagkamatay ng papa nila. Alam ba niyo anong ginawa ko? Kasi para silang, na-depress sila. Sabi ko sa kanila, mga anak, isipin na lang nyo, nagbakasyon yung papa ninyo. Ito na lang, tingnan nyo yung picture niya doon sa table natin. Nilagyan ko yun ng flowers at saka kandila. The whole day, meron siyang kandila. So every day, meron siyang vigil candle. Sabi ko, every end of the week, pupunta tayo sa libingan niya, kausapin niyo siya, talk to him in your heart. So, ginawa ko niya ng 1 year na ganun, nahil ang mga anak ko. Pero kahit isang picture ng husband ko na nakasa coffin, wala kami kahit isa. Ang alam ko lang ang patay ng husband ko, yung death certificate. Ayaw mabasa ng mga anak ko ang resulta ng medico legal. Ayaw nila makinig. Masakit sa kanila. Kaya gusto ko makamta ng hustisya. Kahit naka-move on na kami mga anak ko, sabi ko mga anak, grow up normally. Ako lang ang mag-fight ng case. I want you to be happy and live up a normal life. Be happy, be contented. Ako lang bahala. Sa awa ng Diyos, ang mga anak ko normal ngayon. Nakatapos na sila sa kanilang pagsisikap at sa tulong ng mga NGO, ng mga ng NUGP, ng FFJ, ng Bantay Bata. Sa awa ng Diyos. Pero ipagpatuloy ko ang pakibaka na makamit ang hustisya para sa katahimikan ng husband ko at ng mga biktima na Maguindanao Massacre. Kasi ang iba hindi pa naka-recover. Thank you.
Gusto niyo magsalita? Ayaw na. Kayo po, gusto niyo magsalita? Okay. Now, 13 of these media victims will have an audience with the President this afternoon at 4:30. I'm not sure if it will be open to the media. Chances are the meeting itself will be private, but there may be a brief encounter with the media. Okay, so as Yusek Eco has said, the President remains committed to according justice to the victims of the Batuan Massacre and to all victims of illegal drugs in our country. Thank you very much. That ends our
Sir,
press briefing.
I think we have one question from Joseph.
Meron palang question for
Raymond
Joe.
Nasa din,
Okay.
Joseph
Kay,
Moro.
Pwedeng hindi na.
kay Yusek Eco.
Yes,
So,
yes,
I
yes.
understand, sabi mo 4 years na lang. Pero
Yeah.
it's been a long and tiring trial. Kumusta po yung update natin kung lahat ba ng pamilya ng biktima ay lumalaban pa rin? At
Alright.
I understand na may mga gumagapang, moneyed, may influential yung mga suspects. So may umatras na ba? At sana naman ay wala.
Okay, good question. Thank you for raising that up. During our last meeting, it was raised by one of the media representatives, no, sa task force. If I'm not mistaken, it was Paul Gutierrez of the National Press Club. And he informed the body that out of the 32 families, it seems that only 18 yata ang, according to them, this is not my information, 18 ang interesado. So what I did was I threw the question to the body and asked them, what if worst case scenario hindi na interesado lahat, no? Hindi naman po mangyayari 'yon, I'm sure. What if hindi mawalan nga ng interest? So ang resounding reply by everybody, the lawyers, the law enforcement officials there and also the media representatives, wala pong magiging problema. Because it's a crime against the people and tuloy-tuloy yan. Tuloy-tuloy na yan. Whether or not may mawala ng interest or mabuo. But ang habol po natin ngayon, that's why we are saying this now during these press briefings, that we are seeing now the light at the end of the tunnel. And I hope bumalik yung interest ng mga sinasabing nawala ng interest. May pag-asa po. May pag-asa po. Malapit na po.
Benji Liwanag, bago si Joseph.
Sir, itanong ko lang, do they still receive threats or may mga banta pa ba sa mga buhay ninyo?
So far po, wala naman po. Wala na po. At saka gusto ko pong i-clarify yung mga bribery ng mga ampatuan. Wala po sa grupo namin na nag-offer na bayaran kami para umatras po sa kaso. Kaya tuloy-tuloy ang laban namin kahit nung una po mayroong mga na yung bago pa lang nangyari. Pero sa ngayon po talagang we are decided talaga kami na ipaglaban yung kaso. Kahit po walang pera, basta makuha namin yung hustisya po para sa pamilya namin.
May suporta pa ba na natatanggap kayo coming from the government?
So far po, wala.
Maraming salamat po.
Joseph Moro.
Spokes, you've represented some of the victims, no?
Yes.
And from a legal point of view, how is the 4 years going to be possible? Meaning, what steps can the government take, can the DOJ take, to expedite the trial, given the sheer number of witnesses and the accused?
Alam niyo po yung minungkahi namin na inadapt naman ng Korte Suprema na first in, first out. Kung gagamitin po yan within the year, kakayanin magkaroon ng desisyon laban sa isa, dalawang akusado. Although there are 58 counts of murder, we only need one to put everyone behind bars. So ang akin po, hindi ko na po aantayin yung 4 years, no? Dahil ako naman po na talaga din Presidential Advisor on Human Rights, no? Gagawa rin po ako ng hakbang para naman masiguro na magamit yung first in, first out at tignan po natin kung either this year or early next year magkaroon ng promulgation of judgment against one or two of the accused.
Just for soundbite, no? Can you just explain the first in, first out concept?
Yung first in, first out po, dati-rati kasi kinakailangan tapusin lahat ng ebidensya laban sa lahat ng nasasakdal. Pero ang minungkahi po namin, tapusin natin yung ebidensya laban sa ilan At kung kanino matapos yung presentation ng evidence dun sa nasasakdal na yon, pwede magkaroon na ng promulgation of judgment. So hindi na po kinakailangan tapusin ang lahat ng ebidensya laban sa lahat bago magkaroon ng promulgation of judgment.
Where are we at with regard to the primary suspects, sir?
Well, gaya na sabi ni Undersecretary Egco, meron ng 2 na submitted for resolution. So
Yes.
pwede na siguro magkaroon ng desisyon dito sa 2 ito.
Yung subject ng memorandum to be filed, no, within the month, by next week, yung kay Ahmad Ampatuan Sr. and Anwar Ampatuan Sr. So plus 13 na initially nag-submit for final decision, we're looking at the fastest siguro 15.
There are 15 submitted.
Submitted.
So I think we don't have to wait for years for
Yes.
a decision or a promulgation of judgment. We don't want to second guess the court on what the decision will be, but definitely 8 years has been too long.
Yes.
We deserve a promulgation of judgment very, very soon.
If I may add, Secretary, how the DOJ came up with that projection, no? Yun nga, if 190 ang pinresent ng prosecution, tapos na sila. So right now, they're looking at the worst case scenario, 190 rin ang ipe-present ng defense. Or say 200. They have already presented 63. So we're looking at worst case scenario, again, 140 to 150 na witnesses. So doon nila bination kung ganun kahaba, aabot malamang ng 4 years at the rate the trial is going. However, my question was, what if 100 lang? So mas mabilis. But of course, tama, as Secretary Roque said, we don't want to second guess the court or jump the gun on the judge, who is actually the members of the task force welcome the pace at which the trial is ongoing. Imagine 3 hearings every week. So at that rate, hopefully talagang let's hope against hope. Yung 4 years, kahit man ako'y naiinip, pero umasa po kayo. Sabi nga po, alam po, kabisado po ni Secretary Roque yan. Umasa po kayo. Baka hindi talaga umabot ng 4. Pero ayaw naming magbigay ng false hopes. Eka nga. Doon lang tayo sa sinasabi ng mga datos, ng mga impormasyon, at yung actual na galaw ng kaso na noon po kami man ay bulag. Hindi namin alam ang nangyayari before. Ngayon po alam na natin.
Well, ako naman po, no, dahil in my capacity as Presidential Advisor on Human Rights, hindi tayo papayag na 4 na taon pa. Gagawa tayo ng hakbang. Okay. That's good.
Okay. Maraming salamat.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, maraming salamat, Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque, Undersecretary Joel Egco, at sa mga bisita po natin. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.